All right, let's get back into it. Let's see what else frameworks have to offer. How's everyone like Bootstrap so far? Yeah, so. Um, I really can't beg you enough to stay away from using their JavaScript. It just seems to add so much overhead. And when I say that, let's say you do really want to have a carousel on your website, you can always search for JavaScript carousel, English language, and then of course the first three examples are Bootstrap carousel. But let's see if the one that's right after the Bootstrap one looks a little better. And the way I'm going to indicate if this is better or not is by looking at the HTML that it requires to add to the page. So, yes, this is what I mean. This should be really all the markup ever required to add a carousel. A div with some class, or this is another new modern way of doing it, like data attribute, and then inside of it, divs. And every single one of these divs doesn't need to have a class, is going to be what? A slide. Yeah, so every immediate child, just like Flex, that's what I love about Flex. It's so simple. It's like you say the element is Flex, and basically it doesn't matter what elements you put in it, every immediate child becomes a column. That's how, to me, a carousel should work. I put an element and I call it carousel, then every immediate child should become a slide. And that, and then you can choose, specify all these different options, sure, like showing the little sliders. You can really achieve anything, but the basics should be a lot simpler. See these indicators? You can add them just by saying dots true. So let's see if I can amaze you guys. Here's a cool feature of CodePen that you might have not known about. Let's say I really want to use this carousel and it's called Slick. I can go to Settings, JavaScript, and then I can literally search for Slick. And guess what? First item, click, and that just added Slick to my website. So you don't have to add the script and all that, good stuff. Meaning there's a very tiny chance that this will work. Very tiny. Okay, well, we obviously need the styling, right? Maybe I can go to the CSS and type in Slick. I don't think this is it. Does it require styling? Aha, yes, it does require styling. So how do I get these two files? Anyone? So these are like referring to a Slick folder, meaning I have to download it. I'm allergic to downloading these, so what can I do? This is the magical search query for anything. CDN Slick. And I really believe this is, even though it's dash carousel, I think this is the one we're using. So there it is. So I can actually just add it right here instead, manually. And I can add the theme one as well, which they showed in their example I should add. Now I assume we require a magical class. Your class. Huh. All right. I suppose they might require jQuery. Yeah, that's why we don't cover JavaScript in this class. It requires a lot of little know-hows, and we're going to learn jQuery in the next class as well. which will make all this a lot simpler. Alright, I'm not going to spend any more time on this. Basically, Bootstrap, use what it gives you now, but we're going to learn better ways, and easier ways, and more cool ways. Especially because I guarantee you that Slick Carousel has a lot more like really fancy options. Schmanza. Now, most of us didn't get to the final parts of it, but that's where we talk about overwriting certain parts of the framework. Now, here's what's going to happen over the next few weeks as you're trying to learn about frameworks. Things are not always going to work exactly like they should. And the one like magical tool that should assist you throughout this journey is right-click, inspect. These developer tools should be like your second home. Now, sometimes you might have this little message that appears down here, like sort of like this. Close it. Give yourself all the room in the world. So we're gonna pretty much always be at the Elements tab, and we're gonna have these styles on the right and the HTML on the left. And this is gonna help a lot because one, it will help us stop trying to guess what are these things doing, and we can actually see. So let's say if I added back the card body instead of this P4, I was guessing that it only has padding, but what if it does have some magical properties that we didn't know about? So I'm gonna right click, inspect, and now here's the thing. It will try to figure out which element you're clicking on. Well, I clicked on P text, right, the paragraph, but I want to see card body, so I can just click on card body. Apparently it's doing more than I thought. It's applying a flex of 1-1 auto, so that's sizing wise. If the parent, bless you, if our parent was flexing, which I guess it is, wow. So yeah, it's doing more than I thought. It's not just simple padding. It's actually flexing itself within the card, which apparently is also flex. And then it adds some other little hacks maybe. Okay, now, as to overwriting with your own styles, let's see if I say that my padding, so I want to add my own custom padding for whatever reason. Oops. So let's say I want my padding to be 50 pixels. Okay, who is going to win? We're both applying padding, both me and the framework. Who wins? Well, looks like I won, right? That's a lot of padding. Do you think that's always going to be the case? No. Let's see if I can show you an example. Yeah, they get pretty finicky when you try to play with the nav bar, so let's try that. We're going to override the direction. Alright. Flex direction column. I guess now nobody wins. Oh wait, no. No. Row wins. Alright. Am I winning or are they? I didn't add a custom class, by the way, which was the first thing that you shouldn't do. But there's still a way to find out who is doing the doing. So I see navbar -nav selected twice. And which one is mine, which one is theirs? First one is coming from which file? That's my file. And the second one is coming from that. Now, somebody please ask, wait, I didn't add underscore navbar.scss to my website. Why is it there? Come on, somebody ask, please. Yes. Thank God web development has progressed a lot. And now, if you use some special styling system like less, I use less personally, that's called Sass, it allows you to add something called a source map. And what that means is that if you had to figure out what is actually what's wrong without that, it would look like this. JavaScript source maps. Maybe this is source maps. Okay. There we go. Aha. Now, does anyone recognize the file called bootstrap.min? Yeah, that's that file we added. So if I try to debug the issue here, let's say I'm having some issue with what they're doing, and I click to look at it, how easy do you think it's to find it in a one-line file? Not easy, no, not at all. So then they, and most systems that allow you to use like less and then convert it into this optimized file, create another file called source map, and that allows us to see exactly where in the code the issue is. So let's re-inspect that element. Now look, it's back to navbar.scss. So I can click on that, and it will show me what their style sheet looked like before it was minified, before it was made tiny. So I can see exactly what's happening. It's really beautifully written, so I know how to overwrite it, yada, yada, yada. But always the most important thing is figure out who's the biggest dog. And right now, flex direction is applied by which big kahuna? Right? Who can tell me why? Why it win? What's the difference? That's their selection, that's my selection. Theirs? Mine. What's the difference? Yeah, specificity. They're saying not just the navbar nav, but the navbar nav inside of navbar expand large. So if I wanted to be like, no, all I had to do was say, okay, well, one, I can do something you shouldn't do, but I could just say like maybe body, which actually probably won't be enough. It's not as specific. Let's go one further and just say something like div. Oh, am I still not winning? Let's go to the correct solution, which is to say, hey, this is header angel navbar. Now I basically kind of go to the moon and put my flag on it. That's my stamp of what that navbar is. Should have done that in the first place. I win! Angel navbar, navbar is the winner, right? It's on top now. So you can notice how my navbar is now vertical. Anyone? Pretty slick, right? You can actually steal that idea. I just came up with it. Vertical navigation. It looks fancy. What's the final thing I have to fix to make this truly how it should have been in the first place? Should I be referencing Bootstrap's class called navbar nav and fighting this in this fashion? No. No, I need to, anytime I'm trying to do my own custom stuff, I need to add my own classes for everything I select. That keeps everything clean, meaning if I upgrade Bootstrap, if I decide to change things, I won't have this residual thing. All I'd have to do then is remove my class, and it will go back to being just like Bootstrap has always been. If I copy some other example, or I use a navbar in my footer, it might get overridden because of this. Don't want to do that. So use your own classes. Be diligent about that. Then another thing to keep in mind is what I have done in class on multiple occasions, which is, well, what if I want these indicators to be a bit wider, right? So I can right-click, inspect, and then figure out what is causing that width. Can anyone tell me what potentially is causing that width? Yeah, and it's which element is being selected? Sorry? Carousel indicators is the parent, and then it shows you. Oh, that's so annoying. I need to take out the JavaScript. So it's actually selecting every li inside of carousel indicators. So any li element. Let's look here. See how this is actual carousel indicators as the parent, and it's saying every one of these li tags inside of it. So, li is list item. How would I make those wider? Well, no. Step one. Step one is gonna say like angels. Well, again, don't use these namings, but angels indicators. And then in my style sheet, I can say angels indicators li, otherwise they'll not win that battle, with 45 pixels. Now I won. Why? We're both equally specific, right? I select one parent class, one element inside of it. Identical CSS selection, actually. Why do I win? Cascading style sheets, cascade, right? So that's why we add our style sheet below theirs, because then we can be just as specific, yet win. Just as specific, yet win. Let's see if I can show you some situations where you will not win. Come on, Bootstrap. Whenever I need you to be bad. There we go. Here's a situation where you won't win. If you try to change the display of the navbar collapse to anything but flex, you can be as specific as you want. It will not work because they said important. This kind of overrides O. And honestly, I'm pretty sure that if you see this, don't override it. There's a reason why it's there. You should be very rare, but if you see it, don't touch it. Look for alternative ways. Look at the documentation. Give me a phone call. Tell me like, I need to change this, and then I'll take you off the edge. Okay, so we're doing good. Now, okay. Who can tell me where I should right now, if I want to add that like some kind of container to wrap my whole page, how could I find that here? Search bar. That's going to be your first go-to. So I can say wrap container. Containers. I'm hoping that's it. That looks about right. Let's copy this container and see if my page becomes better or worse. Which I gotta say, already it's kind of weird the way that this takes up so much space and all that. So, as usual, you should always have one thing to hold it. We don't want the body to own how things happen. So there's our container, houses everything. Ah, how much better is that when it's not like side to side?
Where did you put the container?
It holds everything. Everything inside a body.
So it's outside the body?
Sorry?
It's inside the body?
Inside a body, yeah. We don't go outside. So how can I change the height? Because I feel like that carousel, I just want it to be a very slim carousel. Thoughts? Where should I go to first. Whose carousel am I using? Yeah, Bootstrap Daddy. So let's see, carousel, and let's see what options we have. Blah, blah, blah. Maybe I can search for height in here. No can do. Okay. Nope, I see width here, but nothing about height. All right, guys, come on. Let's all together figure out how I could possibly do this. The image size, good, great. Which image size? Of the slide? Probably. Let's try that. Now I'm going to do something that you should never do, but I just want to make sure of that. Oh, actually, let's do it here. I'm going to take out all the slides because that JavaScript's killing me with all the autoplay bullcrap. And now I can actually inspect it in peace. Oh, to comment everything out? Command question mark. And then the same can undo it. Now, I'm going to inspect this, and I'm going to figure out if I changed my image height to be... Ah, look at that. Isn't it nice and slim now? Has anyone actually tried to add custom CSS in their developer tools? I don't think I've showcased it enough. Okay, now here it tells us that W100 specifies a width of 100%, right? And if I just want to test things without changing my code, I can click on here, for example, and change this to 5. And look, it will show me the preview. Now, no harm, no foul, because I'm basically changing actual Bootstrap code. I reload the page, and it's all back to the way it was, right? So you can also click inside of here, element.style, inside of it, and it will let you say with 50%, and they said important, so I guess I have to. What do you think that's selecting, element.style? It's that whole like don't ever do this style attribute that you can add to any element to add styling style, right? It's doing the same thing. So you can do this anytime you want to test changing an element's properties. What is another way to do this? So I can change the, I guess, right, so basically we realized that I can change the height of my image here, and that will work. But I have a much better way to handle this whole fiasco. What if we add an image the way we learn how to add images for the hero? So what if I say div class slide 1, and then I'm going to take my CSS, yep, I'm going to take that image out of there. And now what do? So here's my slide 1, and I want, no matter what background I put, no matter what image is in there, which really is horrible that you, depending on the size of the image to decide all that, I'll say that my slides are going to be a height of 300 pixels. Now to do this the correct way, I would add 2 classes, slides, or slides AG, slide AG, and then slide 1. So slide AG just says 100%, and slide 1 says background. What do? How do I figure out what's happening? Inspect. Try to get to the bottom of the issue here. Oh, look, the height. Oh. Did I miss? Oh. I'm sorry, I forgot to click save. Why is the class slide AG? Class slide AG. Hello? Oh, there we go. What happened there? Wahaha. Great. So now I guess it just took a couple reloadings, but how does that look? It looks okay, but there's a problem. Didn't I have some text or something in this image? That purple text, do you guys see it in here? So that's because we should do all of the stuff we learned about hero images, which is, what should the background size be? I'd go with cover, because it makes sure that the whole image is fit. Or, sorry, right, it makes sure that the width-wise it's covered and doesn't have any weird bars. Now I see the 1, right? And then I can just position it. What should I go for? I'd say safe bet here would be center. Now my 1 is really dead center, right? Now that's cool. Meaning, you guessed it, I can now basically add a bunch of slides with different images and not worry about the crazy difference of sizes for all these images. Otherwise, if you go to the internet right now and you take 3 different images, they're going to have a different height, meaning your page will be resizing every time the slide changes. That's no bueno. So I'm going to say slide 2. Now, should I copy and paste all of this into slide 2? No. I should actually move these 2 into slide AG, which all the slides should have. And all that slide specifies is actually the background image. Now I can have my slide 2 with a background image of, I'm going to put 2 like that. And all I'm missing is Monsieur. Et oui, oui. And change that class to class 2. Now, hip hip hooray. Oh no. What's the problem with copy and pasting? Yeah, now it's like everybody active. Whoa, isn't that cool? Any sized image. So to prove that I mean any sized image, I'm going to make the second image tiny. So like thousands of pixels less, right? It's hard to tell, but on my screen, blurry. Here, crisp. So what is the size we want to actually make, or like have the image be like roughly about? If the width is about 960 and the height 300, then we'd probably like these images to be at least 1.5 times that. So about 1200 wide by 600 high, roughly. Just larger than whatever it is here, because that will make it work better on Retina displays. Anyone have questions why I replaced the image tag with a div? Now, another cool thing is this whole craziness of carousel caption that just allergic to it can go away too. And did I just take out? That's good. All right. Now, if I wanted to add my own heading and paragraph, where would they go? Inside my AG, slide AG. I can say H2, welcome, and then I would space it, right? So what I can do is, let's try P10. Probably not a good idea. I don't even think that worked. They don't even have a P10. I'm just crazy. And now it's spaced with padding. What other options might I have? Well, in this situation, I think I can kind of handle it more manually. So I could go to my style and say, hey, slide AG, like display flex, for example. And then justify content, center. And align items, center. So what that would do is look at where my title just went. Ooh, ooh. Pretty cool, right? Dead center. Just by adding flex, justify content, align item, center, center. And what if I want to make my title white and larger? I could say, I could either add a class here, which I should. Class slide title. And color white. Font size 80 pixels. Woo! It's gonna look good. Whoa. Isn't that cool? Keep in mind the homework, I have examples of the completed versions if you get stuck. And BOMA does not seem to have a search bar. So how do you think you find stuff without a search bar? Sadly, you can't do that because these are different pages. But Google is your friend. You can type in BOMA.io, and if I remember correctly, this should work. Yeah. Has anyone ever done that before? I believe if you type in the website you want to go to, like BOMA, and then you replace kind of the ending with colon, it will search within that website. That's one option. Another option is just to go to Google and type in BOMA columns. And the first item, it's kind of like Google becomes your really powerful search, right? And here's the example of how columns work. Now, how would I add that container that's the extra credit from the homework assignment? Where should I go? Layout, all the big kind of chunks. And guess what? They also have one called container. They use hero. Yeah. So look at their hero. It is gorgeous. You can put a background color on it. I don't know if they have a background image example, which is funny. All the, oh cool, look at that example. The hero has the header go on top of it. Has some other navigation stuff. Schmancy. But it does blow my mind, like every framework has a hero and none of them show you an image, like background image example. What gives? I think it's probably why, because you have to add in the background, not as an image, like Bootstrap does. Questions? All right, guys, I'll give you like another 10, 15 minutes to work on the homework, and then you can do it from home. Do it. So I can help you as